The courtroom in New Orleans was packed, the tension so thick it could be cut with a knife. Dim yellow lights cast shadows on the face of Marcus Hale, a young attorney standing before the jury. Today was the day of reckoning. His client, Darnell Lewis, could walk free or be sentenced to life in prison for a crime he did not commit. Marcus wasn't one of those corporate lawyers who wore expensive suits and signed billion-dollar contracts on mahogany desks. He was a child of the rough South Side neighborhoods of New Orleans, where the law bent to the will of those in power. When Darnell Lewis's case landed on his desk, Marcus knew he wasn't just defending a man. He was fighting an entire corrupt system. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, look at the evidence," Marcus said, his gaze scanning the attentive faces before him. Darnell is accused of killing a police officer in a drug deal gone wrong. But take a closer look. There are no fingerprints, no direct witnesses, and the key piece of evidence, the gun found at the scene, has none of his DNA. Prosecutor William Caine, a seasoned veteran of the district attorney's office, stood with his arms crossed, a smirk playing on his lips. He knew this game well, and he had cards Marcus didn't. "The jury," Caine stepped forward, his voice dripping with confidence, "should not be deceived. Darnell Lewis is a known criminal, and police officers don't fabricate stories. We have an indirect witness, a man who saw Darnell at the scene. That so-called witness was Rico Salazar, a drug dealer who had cut a deal to testify against Darnell in exchange for a reduced sentence. Marcus knew it, but proving the truth in a system rigged against his client was an entirely different challenge. The night before the final arguments, Marcus received an anonymous call. "You're looking for the truth, aren't you?" The voice on the other end was hoarse, laced with fear. "I have what you need." An hour later, Marcus drove to an abandoned parking lot. A small USB drive was pressed into his hand. Back in his office, he plugged it in and opened the files. A security camera video from a nearby building revealed something explosive. Another man had fired the fatal shots, a police officer. This was a bombshell. If presented in court, the case would turn on its head. But it could also put Marcus in grave danger. The next morning, Marcus entered the courtroom with a sense of unease. Prosecutor Caine watched him closely, suspicion flickering in his eyes. He knew something was up. "Your Honor," Marcus said, keeping his voice steady, "I would like to present new evidence." He played the video. The room fell into absolute silence. The footage showed the supposed victim, the police officer, drawing his gun and firing first. Darnell wasn't even at the scene at the time of the shooting. The truth hit the courtroom like a tidal wave. The judge banged his gavel. Prosecutor Caine went pale. Marcus knew he had just stepped onto ground no one was supposed to tread. The next day, Marcus noticed he was being followed. A black SUV sat outside his house. A message popped up on his phone. "Stop now or you'll be next." He understood. He had uncovered something much bigger than one wrongful conviction. But Marcus had never been the kind to back down. At the final trial, after forensic experts confirmed the authenticity of the video, the jury took less than an hour to reach a verdict. Darnell Lewis, not guilty. But Marcus didn't have time to celebrate. As he stepped out of the courthouse, he saw the black SUV parked across the street. A man stepped out, wearing dark sunglasses, his expression cold and unreadable. "Congratulations, counselor," he said in a calm voice. "But do you really think this is over?" Marcus understood. This was only the beginning.